Are our thoughts formed in a different place and then passed through the ego? Or do our thoughts originate from the ego itself? Ego is not anything that exists apart from the thoughts. The identification of thoughts with thought is an example of ego, but the thoughts that pass through your mind are of course connected to the collective mind of the society in which you live, which serves as a representation of mankind whole. As a result, these are not your thoughts in and of themselves. Rather, you are the one who picks them up from the mass of people. As a result, you tend to identify with thinking, and this identification eventually transforms into ego. Ego may be defined as the belief that you have in every idea that comes to mind, and that you obtain your sense of who you are from the information that your mind is providing you with about who you are. Opinions and fresh perspectives. When certain individuals have conversations with themselves, you could hear them say things like, "Oh, you are so good. Why doesn't the world recognize you?" Or the subconscious is telling you, "You're no good. You're no good at all. You can never do anything. You fail at everything." Afterwards, you come to believe in it, and all of a sudden, you have a negative perception of yourself, despite the fact that you have loved yourself because you have believed in your views. Please explain why you are having those thoughts. You most likely obtained them from a different location. It's possible that when you were a child, your mother used to be so stressed out that she would tell you, "You're no good." And as a result, you picked up certain thoughts, your mind becomes preoccupied with them. During your childhood, you may be exposed to thoughts that are similar to small energy forms or entities. These thoughts tend to become ingrained in your mind and refuse to leave. The greater the degree to which you have faith in them, the more firmly they settle into your mind. Some individuals are unable to escape from extremely hostile entities. I'm not referring to entity, only doubts and even childish faith, which can lead to harmful incompletions. For individuals who frame their dreams or thoughts in a spooky manner, rather, I'm referring to the fact that every idea is a type of energy, and as such, we may refer to it as an entity. Throughout this planet, there are a great number of people who are unable to escape the presence of hostile, life-denying, constantly critical and attacking energies that they carry within their heads. Despite the fact that they are constantly criticizing themselves, they are under the impression that this is who they are. Whenever they are not assaulting themselves, they are attacking those around them, so revealing their true identity to those around them. It goes without saying that what they are actually saying is, "Allow me to introduce myself to you." As a result, they project the well-known proverb, which states, "We don't see things as they are, we see them as we are." This proverb implies that you view reality through the lens of your thinking and judgment, which are influenced by the events that have occurred in the past. Living in this terrible place is a terrible gift. The experience is comparable to peering at reality through thick veils. Is that a human being? You make the inquiry. This gets us back to the most important issue, which is the lack of space within ourselves. The identification with thinking, believing in your thoughts, and having no space outside of the movement of thought all bring us back to this point. It is the condition of being fully spiritually unconscious, which is the unconscious condition. Therefore, you are carrying a big ego around with you. Without thought, the ego does not exist as a separate thing. The thoughts that you have identified with are the ones they are. At the time that you understand that certain thoughts have been passing through your head for years, possibly even decades, and that they are nothing more than thoughts, you will experience your first moment of freedom. Not the concept itself, but the awareness itself is what you are. In my situation, I became conscious of the fact that I had a notion, for instance, that began when I was a child. It was one of many unpleasant thoughts that I had. I got the idea. It seems like bad things are always happening to me. As I observed other people, I became increasingly convinced of it. Okay, they've got all these nice things, and always there would be bad things happening to me. When this happens, your perspective naturally gets more selective. It is much more noticeable when you have a thinking like that, since, in the lives of everyone, there are times when things do not go as planned. You run the risk of missing a bus, being stuck in a traffic jam, or making a financial loss. You are acutely aware of those things, and they confirm to you that the idea is accurate. However, if you have the thought, "Bad things always happen to me," then you are correct in your assumption that the notion is correct. This refers to the thought process that results in a selective impression of reality. It will be confirmed to you by the truth, and in addition to that, the kind of idea that you are having actually attracts negative things and things that are destructive. It is possible that you will single out instances in which you notice unethical or terrible behavior in other people if you have a deeply ingrained conviction that people are in general bad, and you are unaware that this idea is merely a concept contained within your head. In addition to this, you are far more likely to come into contact with people that exhibit that kind of conduct, since you are the manifestation of that behavior. The way in which people create their own world through that is very remarkable. Therefore, freedom is achieved by going outside, first encountering a small amount of space within yourself, and then recognizing that certain ideas are repetitious. Finally, freedom is achieved by recognizing that you are here. Bad things always happen to me, or here is yet another instance of the thinking that you have had in the past. The process of liberating oneself from the ego involves liberating oneself from the connection of thought with thought. This marks the conclusion of the ego. Despite the fact that we might not always be free and that it might occasionally make a comeback, at least that is the awakening that we are experiencing. As for your thoughts, what are they? Are you content with the way you are thinking? Are you under the impression that you need to get everything right? You are being controlled by those obsessive ideas that say, "Figure it out and get it right," and if it is not correct, you are running away. Some people are terrified of failing in whatever endeavors they undertake, because they believe that their self-perceptive picture, which is comprised of their thoughts, would suffer as a result. If they are unsuccessful at something, it will be detrimental to their sense of self-worth, and as a result, they will not even attempt it. Once more, this is connected to the concept of inferring your identity from your thoughts. Simply thinking, "I have failed," is a falsehood in and of itself. The falsehood that "I am a failure" is even more deceitful. You are not a failure so far. You can easily reinterpret what it means. "I have learned something here. This is not for me," which is an illustration. People, however, are prone to believing the lies that their minds create. The minds of many people are quite antagonistic, yet it is likely that they are driven by a strong desire to succeed. I think it's great that they want to get out of their heads, but before they can do that, they need to understand that their problems are self-generated, mind-generated, and not caused by the outside world. You probably decided to watch this video because you want to learn more about yourself and be more present in the here and now. This choice was made as a consequence of a more fundamental realization being gained. Subscribe to our channel and we will upload new videos every day to help you on your road of self-discovery. That's why I think you will like them so much. Immediately after you have realized the gravity of this warning, kindly respond by writing "Now." Thank you for your prompt responsiveness. It is possible for us to complete this task if we put in the necessary effort.